So thanks for inviting me for dinner.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for letting me cook.
I've always wanted to try your cooking.
Here we go. My homemade meat pie.
What's in it?
Oh, secret ingredient, you know, all to do with herbs.
Really, what is in it?
Nothing for you to be worrying about. Okay, so this first experience is kind of a long one because, okay, so this was back when the movie came out in 2007 and I didn't know who Tim Burton was at this point. But anyway, and I saw the trailer and I was like, oh my god, this looks like a really cool horror movie. Oh my god, I really want to see it, I really want to see it. But because of the ratings, I couldn't see it. I remember, you know, but this is something I really wanted to see, so me and my friends, we tried to sneak in, trying to pass like 18-year-olds, we couldn't fall for it. So I think after some time, I kind of got over my obsession of trying to see it. But then finally got the chance to see it once it came on DVD, and this was then when I found out that it was basically that was when the DVD came out. What am I saying? Right, I got the chance to go and see it a few years later after I became a Tim Burton fan, so I was aware of his work. I didn't know that he directed this film, and then I remember me and my friends, we sat down. And then, you know, Warner Brothers, DreamWorks, you know, all that sort of thing. A Tim Burton movie, and I was like, oh, wow, that makes so much sense why I wanted to go and see it. So it's just like, oh my god, this is going to be so much better than I thought. And here's the funny thing. I had no idea that it was a musical. No friggin' idea that it was a musical. So obviously I was kept in the dark about this. So, and then suddenly Johnny Depp started singing, and I was like, wait, what? And everyone's singing, and then Helena started singing, and you know, song upon song. And I was like, so wait, is this a musical and a horror movie as well? Yeah, kind of a weird combination. But you know what? Throughout the whole movie, man, it's like really two different things, and yet they mesh so well together. Now I'll explain this more in the review, but okay. So first we're gonna go behind the scenes and. I'm gonna think about where to start with first with this one. I'll see you soon. So, for my #1 favourite musical of all time, here is trivia from Tash.
The film's conductor was the musical director and conductor to the original Broadway production. Once again, Perseverance.
And I think the Broadway one also had Michael Ball as Sweeney, but I'm not sure who played Mrs Lovett.
I think it was Angela Lansbury.
West End. She was in the West End one, because it launched in the West End, like Phantom did, so.
Sacha Baron Cohen, forgive me if I said that wrong.
No, you said it right.
Lovely. Took 16 hours to learn how to handle a razor.
Well, it's sharp.
Especially an old-fashioned one like that.
Shove it off first.
So get you to do the last bit.
Shove it off.
See, it's easier for women, but you pulled it off pretty well.
That was pretty impressive, yes.
As the blood was Sweeney's emotional release, Tim wanted a lot of blood.
Yeah.
That sounds really disturbing.
No, the blood was the only way that he could express himself. It's like art. Shut up. The blood's poetic, people!
Imelda Staunton was considered for the role of Miss Lovett. Instead, she went on to play in the 2012 West End production.
Well, at least she managed to play it.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
She missed a note! Okay.
Final depicted body count was 12. I swear it was a lot more than that.
Who was the first one? First one, I can't remember.
Does it count?
I think it was Sacha Baron Cohen who was first.
Oh no,
No,
because they went through Oh, hang on a minute. No, I think he was the first one.
Yeah, I think he was.
Either that or someone died on the ship.
No. No. No.
Well, not necessarily of him.
Whew, okay, so there was me thinking about, okay, like, why do these two things, well, firstly, I should say that I do love musicals. I mean, it depends on what musicals they are. And, like, I remember looking at my top 10 list and I was like, yeah, I really like darkish musicals, don't I? Or, like, really kind of adult theme ones, but, you know, I am an adult, so that would make sense. But, and I know a lot of people are probably going to say, like, okay, well, why is this your favorite one? Is it just because Tim Burton directed it? I know that a lot of people, when they look at cinematic musicals, they usually think of Rob Marshall's films, they think of Hairspray, you know, Chicago 9, blah, blah, blah. Other ones, I don't know, the Rodgers and Hammerstein's one, even though I'm not, the Robert Wise ones, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, sure, and they're good movies, some of them, they're good movies, especially the Rob Marshall ones, but, when I watched this movie and when it finished, I was like, this is how you adapt a musical onto the screen. This is how it's done. So when people say to me, like, mostly musical fan, like, I remember, like, Tash, you know, she said the same thing. She was like, oh my god, I've never seen such a great musical on screen, and, you know, and so this is the way that you do it. Because honestly, this is a film that's even recommended to people who are not fans of musicals. Yeah, and they still end up loving it. And I think it sort of introduced them to musicals as well, because it's just done so well. And I think the reason why is because, yeah, two very different things. Horror, musicals, not the best combination, but at the same time, the songs are so... These are the most flowing songs that I've ever heard in a musical. They don't feel like, you know, so I think the best example was sort of when Pretty Women sort of came on, and, you know, like, Sweeney asks them, so what may I do for you today? And, you know, you know, as an audience member, you're kind of excited because they're like, yeah, this might be his chance. And, like, you know, so that was me, like, going crazy. And then suddenly Alan Rickman starts singing, and, you know, it's kind of like, you don't kind of go, whoa, what, we're gonna start singing now? No, I felt like it was just so smooth, and there was, you know, it was a little bit of build up for the music as well, but it was like, yeah, you know, this is a conversation. I think the thing that made it also feel very smooth is the look of the film. The look is very, you know, it is set in London, it is set in Fleet Street, but at the same time it was very fictional looking. It's like, yeah, this is a fictional story. Yes, it's set in London, but we're not going to make it look very realistic. It's sort of like, oh, I don't know, it's like how they do Transylvania and, like, the Hammer horror film Dracula's or the Bela Lugosi one. Yeah, Transylvania is a real place, but they kind of fictionalize it to help with the atmosphere and everything, and it works okay, so it really adds to the atmosphere. And the film just looks gorgeous. Yes, it's dark, it's gritty, but at the same time, it's so beautiful to look at, you know, you know, and it really soaks up the environment and fills you with the atmosphere as well. And, you know, it makes you feel about, you know, the poverty that they're going through, and at the same time, that sort of, you know, the actual barbershop, they do a bit with a flashback on what it used to look like, and then, you know, looking at it, what it does now, it's sort of broken down, and it's really... It's just so nice to look at, you know. It's horrible to look at, but it's nice to look at the same time. It's like Hammer horror movies. It's just so nice to look at, even though it's dark. And oh my god, I'm getting out of here. Okay. But at the same time, like, you know, a lot of people are kind of, when I listen to it, surprisingly, when I listen to it on the soundtrack, it's really, like, hard to say, like, this is a horror, because at the same time, the music is so nice to listen to. It's got a bit of sense of humor. It's got this kind of romantic element in it, but at the same time it really works because the characters, see, like, you know, the fact that, okay, let's go over the characters. Let's start with Sweeney Todd. So for example, you know, I always see Sweeney Todd as, yeah, like a tortured soul, you know, kind of like, I wouldn't be surprised if Tim kind of like compared him to a lot of Vincent Price roles. I could kind of see that, you know. And so the idea of when he finally gets the razors and he sings My Friends, it makes sense. You know, there's that emotional connection. It's kind of like, yeah, you know what? You know, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm feeling this kind of power in me. And so as a music, it really, really works. And you know, what I find fascinating about characters like Sweeney Todd is the fact that, and again, this goes to a lot of Vincent Price roles, this goes to a lot of probably Christopher Lee roles as well, Peter Cushing roles, you know, all those stars, Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, all the famous ones. You know, it's kind of like, you know, they're doing really, really bad stuff, very monstrous things, but at the same time you kind of understand where they're coming from. You know, and it's like, they really take their time to kind of sort of, okay, this is what happened to him in the past, this is how he was in the past, this is how his relationship with his wife was, his daughter was, and, you know, most of it is through Johnny's silent acting while he's singing over it, and it really works. You really take their time to say, yeah, you know what, he was really living the good life, and then this suddenly happened to him, just because the judge wanted his wife. Wow, you know, and then he finds out what happened to his wife, and so they really take that time, and you know, so when he says, yeah, you know what, the judge is dead, I am going to fucking kill him, you know, and it's kind of like, yeah, I don't blame you after what he did, you know, I don't really blame you, and then again at the same time you still understand why he's sort of going to such desperate measures as well, and then, you know, and also, you understand why Mrs. Lovett is going to such desperate measures of turning the bodies into pies. It's a way to get rid of them, it's a way to stoke up business, but they kind of take that a bit more on the comedy side, which is great. A Little Priest, I laugh at it a lot. I think it's just the rhyming of it, and I just like, I like the rhythm of it. It's kind of, it's nice to listen to, even though we're talking about horrible things. It's like, yeah, you know what, we're on your side. It's kind of weird. Okay, let's lead to Mrs. Lovett then, and I still argue that this is probably, a lot of people say that Helena's best character is Bellatrix Lestrange, and yeah, I won't argue, and I don't see where they're coming from, but personally I think Mrs. Lovett is her best performance, because she's really giving it all, and, you know, I think what I just, you know, and again, it's that kind of feeling of, you know, some people kind of make her into like just the comic relief thing, but I think this adaptation made her, but yeah, she's funny, and she's probably the person besides from Pirelli who probably gives the most jokes-ish, says the most funny lines, but at the same time they still give her heart and they still give her that tragedy as well. So, you know, I think I remember Tim saying at one point that they should have called it the Mrs. Lovett show because you felt more for her than Sweeney Todd. I feel for both of them, to be honest, but, you know, but I think most people feel even more sorry for Mrs. Lovett because I think she really expresses, like, how much she loves Sweeney Todd, but, you know, that idea of, you know, being completely in love with someone who kind of doesn't really pay attention to her, or, you know, is so obsessed with what he's doing, and that it's like she's kind of invisible to him, and it's like, you know, and that's sad, you know, that's really sad. But at the same time, I still get the connection between her and Toby as well, and so, you know, there's a lot of heart to her character as well. She is both funny, but she does have that heart to it as well, and so that's really, really good. Okay, oh my god, there's too many good characters in this. Okay, the Judge and the Beadle. Okay, Alan Rickman and Timothy Spall, I love both of these two. Well, actually, I really love all the actors in this movie, but, you know, it's like, it's weird because at the same time, like, you know, Alan Rickman does what a lot of famous horror actors do, probably a lot of Vincent Price roles, a lot of Christopher Lee roles, where, you know, you want to know what he's thinking, but you don't at the same time. It's kind of like, you know, it's like, yeah, we want to know exactly what's going through your mind, but do I really want to know? It's like that weird kind of oh god, he did it really well, and of course Timothy Spall was, you know, he was very violent and, you know, kind of, you know, very sort of self-absorbed, I think, and like, you know, quite proud of his appearance and think he's very good with the ladies. Obviously he's not, but his character is just, it's kind of like he's so slimy, but he's so enjoyable to watch. You just love how despicable these two are. You know, it's nice, it's enjoyable to watch. And I like the kid characters as well. I like the fact that they take aside, you know, it's not all, you know, blood and gore. It's all, you know, there's a little bit of love and romance as well. So again, I think this is why a lot of people, you know, even people who don't like horror or don't like musicals, they still quite like this film because it gives them a lot. It offers them a lot of stuff. Mostly the teenagers aside, so I kind of, you know, it's you know, so there's a little bit of something for everyone. You know, and okay, should I talk about the plot? Yeah, I'm still surprised by the R rating. I mean, apparently Americans are a little bit more cautious than us Brits. We kind of, you know, I think most of my friends were kind of like, really? You'd rate that as an 18? Okay, so obviously we Brits like really dark stuff, but okay, or we're quite used to it. I don't know. I personally never thought the blood goes too far, and actually I think the look of the film just made the sort of red color just really stand out, and at the same time, no CG. This was all, you know, whatever pumping machine, something that they usually do in the theaters. Back in like this 19th century, they used like this sort of pumping thing, and then blood would just kind of spur out. This is how they did it in old-fashioned theatre. So again, there's that theatrical feeling to it as well. But it transitions right to film, so again, no CG. Yeah, there was quite a few green screens to make the look of like the settings and stuff, but that's fine. You know what, they kind of need to do that. That's fine. So I haven't got a problem with it. And at the same time, you know, there was me thinking, well, if this is gonna be a story about a serial killer, you kind of need the blood. You know, it's like it's like the blood's like almost like a character in itself, and also the chair I always find a character. You know, I remember Tim talking about how, oh yeah, let's make it fall backwards so the victims sort of land on their head, make it a little bit more kind of horrific and stuff, and it really works. And just the way that it kind of unfolds and then, you know, folds up again, and, you know, it's really, really good. So, I'm going on and on. Oh my god, I forgot about one fucking character. I forgot about Pirelli. Why? Okay, well, he was funny. I think it's weird that they chose someone like Sacha Baron Cohen, but at the same time, he's still, he doesn't feel out of place. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, you know what, he fits right in, and he's really funny in this. You know, he's not doing it so over the, well, maybe some people might argue he's doing it so over the top, but I suppose that's the character. And, you know, it's kind of, it's, well, you know, he's funny. I mean, he's funny, especially like, yeah, again, it's like a lot of dark humor, you know, the way he kind of abuses Toby, but he kind of does it in a funny way, and then, you know, but at the same time, Mrs. Lovett kind of goes, aw, you know, maybe I shouldn't be feeling for him, but I do. You know, it's like that kind of thing I really like, so I'm going on and on about it. It's really hard to talk, it's really, there's quite a lot to talk about. And I just love the kind of, you know, themes that they're trying to address. I know a lot of people, you know, obviously revenge is such a huge theme in this story, and yeah, you know, revenge is, but to me, I might be going completely off, but usually when I look at this movie and this story, it's not revenge I see, it's obsession that I see, and I think that's kind of the cautionary tale that I'm kind of getting from this. So hear me out. So obviously, this whole revenge plot, you know, Sweeney Todd, he is absolutely obsessed with killing the judge and the beadle. You know, it's an obsession of his. He won't stop talking about it. Even like Mrs. Lovett is like, oh my god, you stop going on about it. You know, and it's kind of funny in that way. And at the same time, that obsession kind of leads him to even more monstrous things. Then you look at Mrs. Lovett, who's so obsessed with Sweeney Todd that she's kind of sort of blinded by the fact that, yeah, he is doing monstrous things, and maybe he's not exactly the person for you, you know, and, you know, there's the whole, you know, the, blah, blah, nothing's gonna harm you while I'm around, you know, Toby's kind of saying, you know, it's kind of like that sort of subtle message of, wake up, woman, you know, kind of look at what's going on. There's that idea with the judge being obsessed with marrying Joanna, and, you know, like, you know, his obsession of Lucy, and the fact that this led to Sweeney Todd's transformation, shall we say, and so, you know, so there's a lot of obsession going on, or, you know, even something small like Pirelli's obsession with being the #1 barber in London, you know, there's a little bit of that, and each one kind of leads to their end. I don't think I'm spoiling anything like that, you know, demise or whatever you want to say, but, so that's what I always say, because, like, each obsession leads to even more monstrous things, and so I always find that it's more of a cautionary tale about what obsession can do, and, you know, I might be completely wrong about this, but, you know, that's what I get from it. I mean, obviously I get the revenge plot a lot, it's just that it's a little bit more. Well, I hope you enjoyed this review. Sorry it was a bit sort of all over the place, but yeah, it's just, oh, there's too much to talk about. I've only covered a little bit, I think. So, you know, but I will see you in the next review. Bye, everyone! Alright, merchandise, here we go. There's not too much to do with it. I know that apparently there are some figures of Sweeney Todd doing the pose and everything, and of course there's a soundtrack. Definitely a recommendation. But I suppose the main thing I should probably say is, excuse me, is the visual companion. This is really, really good. Since it talks about, obviously it talks about the casting, and of course Tim Burton sketches, obviously, and you know, just sort of the kind of look that they were going for, and their idea behind the blood, and, you know, the idea about trying to make this musical right for the screen and everything, and costume sketches by Colleen Atwood. She's great. She's great. Makeup, of course, and I like the little bit of the addition with the lyrics being on the back of the book. So if you want to learn the lyrics, you know, this is a starting point. But at the same time, if you really, really love the movie, if you really love how they make musicals, love how they make film, then definitely worth picking up. Especially if you're a Tim Burton fan like myself. So, or Johnny Depp fan, or whatever. You know, it's like, it's really worth getting. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, I will see you soon. Bye, everyone!